Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Amanda. For those of you that are new to the channel, for those of you that have been here before, welcome back, and to family, hello. It's been a busy few days. I've not been inside at all, which means all of the meal prep has been consumed. And so I need to do up some meals. So I also have got to do some more work outside. We're expecting a really hot day today. Don't know whether we're going to get that or not, because right now it's early. It is 6 o'clock and I've done all the outside work around the property, feeding the animals and doing the vegetable gardens and that sort of thing. But it's still quite overcast and cool outside, so I'm hoping that it doesn't get to 30 degrees. So because it is going to get hot, I figured I'd get all the meal prep out of the way quickly this morning. So I need to do my meals that are really quickly. I can prepare them and then go about my day and do some more jobs as well. So I need to do the rice, which I always do in the rice cooker, just with all the ingredients all in one pot, just all chucked together. And that's a really quick and easy and cheap meal. So I'm going to do a vegetable version of that, and they can add ham to it or bacon to it later on if they want to. But at least there's a vegetable version for me. I got chicken out as well from the Ingham's outlet. That's chicken breast fillet, so I'll be marinating them again in one of the family favourite honey soy Chinese recipes. So I'll be doing that as well. I've got 10 cobs of corn that I picked up from the local farmer. They were only 50 cents a cob, and so I picked up 10 cobs, I think, maybe 12 in total, but I need to cook them. They're just slightly underripe, which is perfect for putting them into the canner. They're the first of the season's corn, and they didn't cost very much money compared to what they are currently in the retail stores. I've got the last of the garden produce from over the winter period, things like the bull's horn, capsicums, so I'll be putting those in the rice as well, and the rest of the ingredients will be coming out of these pantry shelves, and I'll just be restocking them as well with some corn and different things. While we're in the nook here in the pantry, let's have a quick look around. So over the past few weeks, I guess, I've been refilling and using a lot of the produce as a working pantry, which means I use all of these ingredients that are in the pantries. So I was making all of the chili sauces, the hot chili powder. Yeah, that is seriously hot. So this one is made with the Carolina Reaper chilies and some hot cayenne peppers. So that was a little deadly to open the grinder with that one, so I had to be a bit careful. But there's the hot sauces. This one here is the one that we're consuming. It can stay on the shelf, doesn't need to be in the fridge. There's enough vinegar and sugar in that, so it is shelf stable, doesn't need to be refrigerated. Sweet chili sauces and some chili dipping sauces as well. Some fresh corn from earlier as well, and the last of the corn from the year before is up the top there. That's all I have left is my 4 quarts. Some potatoes, not enough though. Some beef, bolognese beef. That's a smoky bolognese beef. Couple of ugly chickens. I think there's 4 left in there, but there is fresh salmon because I did redo salmon recently. So I have my previous salmon down the bottom with my soups and just some fresh salmon and trout as well. Salsas, there's the chunky salsa and there's also the blended salsa as well, which is the dipping salsa versus the chunky salsa, which I can then add to marinades and to casseroles, etc. Or I can split some back up again when I open them if I need to. Chili oil. The chili oils, they were avocado oils, but when I cooked up some really spicy chicken recently, which had a lot of chili in it, I ended up with this gorgeous rich oil. So not to waste it, was put back into a jar while it was still hot and it's sealed, but it's fine, it's going to get used. Caramel syrup, that's the one that we made a few weeks back. Our carrots, our strawberry, because it was strawberry season, it's coming to the end now. So that's the last of the strawberries for the year. So these are strawberry sauces to add to yogurts, etc. Then all the fruits. So peaches and pears, some lemon juice, some raspberry, the last of the lemon butter or the lemon curd as well. The last of the previous really hot chili sauce. That's like a Tabasco style as well. So really hot. Some strawberry conserve, which is a really rich caramelized strawberry jam. And then this one's a blueberry. Couple of strawberry jams, just some little pots that can go into gift baskets later on in the year. Like I said, some soups, bits and pieces, celery from the garden as well, and celery water. So there's those as well. A couple of salsas again. And then on this side is the last of last year's capsicums. So it's just coming into our capsicum season. Some of the chicken casserole, some of the hummus, which just gets blended up, gets drained, gets blended up, and 1/4 cup of avocado oil or olive oil gets added to that to make a fresh hummus. Baked beans, there's not too many of the baked beans, the smoky baked beans, not many of those left. This is the taco pork and beef mince. So I'll make up a taco seasoning and then add that to the ground beef, and then the excess gets put into some jars. Strawberry jam, corn relish, which will be beautiful by now, so perfect for spring. Some of the golden chutney and the caramelised onion as well, and more whole strawberries or diced strawberries for later. I've got a few jars of that for later on in the year for if we do run out of strawberry sauce or strawberry jam. And up the top is dill pickles, some more strawberry sauce, and some caramelised onions. It's a quick walkthrough of a couple of the shelves here in the pantry. So we'll move on to the rice for those of you that haven't seen my rice quick and easy way to make a rice meal, a fried rice dinner without it being fried, and a lot healthier, and you have your hands free because it's all done in one pot, which happens to be the rice cooker. I'm just going to use a small rice cooker because I'll do up small batches instead of doing up a really big batch. This is quite a substantial amount of rice, but I am doing chicken to go with it, so it's going to be the side dish instead of the main part of the meal. So we'll go ahead and make that quickly. So you can put whatever you want in your own version of the fried rice, whatever vegetables you like. I'm just clearing out the refrigerator and just using items that I still have to go through. So these are the capsicums, the last of our capsicums. So I'm just going to chop those up really finely. I love them, but the family don't particularly. And my husband doesn't care, doesn't mind, but my son is not a vegetable eater. And if you've got a fussy child, then you know what I mean. When it comes to veggies, you've got to tend to hide them if possible in your meals. And my son is an adult, but he still does not like vegetables, even though he knows they're there. So I'm just going to go and dice these because it's quite loud. So they've all been diced up. It's just about a cup or so's worth. Again, whatever you like. I've just diced this on the finest setting of that little manual chopper, which this is an old machine. This one I've had over 20 years, so it was one of the first ones that came out, but it's a good machine, quality-wise, as far as doesn't use any power, and it's easy to clean, and all the blades are still perfect even after all that time, even though it gets used pretty much most days of the week. All right, so into the bottom of the rice cooker, I'm just going to put all of the ingredients that I want to cook off. So capsicums, onion, etc. So I've got onions that are preserved. So these were pressure canned for 40 minutes. No onions have been added to these. No salt has been added at all to these. But they are sliced up, not finely chopped up. And so because my son particularly hates onion, I'm just going to chop them. It's just simple. So I'm just going to chop them up. There's a lot of flavour in this liquid, probably too much for this particular dish. So I'm going to drain off this liquid as well. This would equal 2 brown onions, is usually how many I fit into these quart jars before they're pressure canned. And because they're already cooked, they can go straight into this fried rice dish quickly. I'm not going to waste all of that onion flavoured stock that they've been cooked in, which was just water, but it's got all that onion flavour. So I hope to make some soups today, if not today, tomorrow, so that will get used as well. So that's my drained onion, and I'm just going to put it in the bottom as well. I'm going to put the rice cooker on and just get those starting. So they're cooking. Got dehydrated green onions from the garden over winter, so I'll put in a handful of those as well. That will give me the green colour. Like I said, I'm going to do this one vegetarian instead of adding the bacon to it now, though I might change my mind. It depends on how it looks when I stir it all together. But I'm just going to get some mixed vegetables for these. Usually I would use peas and corn. We don't have peas, so maybe I do. I'll go check the freezer. Still have one final bag of frozen corn. So these corns were 800 grams. They were $1. I'm not sure if they still are, but this was quite some time ago. These were all purchased from one of the local factory outlets. So I did pick up a few. I'll just put a couple in there. of the corn, and then we can add our rice. So just equal parts. I don't want to open the 10 kilo bag, so I'm just going to use what's here. Three and a half of the rice. And then to that, I'm just going to open up one of the vegetable stocks. And then I'll add some additional flavours as well, whatever I put my hands on while I'm working here this morning, doing 5 different things at once. Right, so that's our vegetable stock. So if there was 3.5 rice, then I need to put in 3.5, and then 1 extra. That's it. The rice can cook with its lid on, and then that's done for the next however long that takes, 20 minutes or so. So I'll get that out of the way. All right, to my rice, I'm just going to add some taco seasoning mix that we've made here before. I'll put the link in the description on how to make the mix up, but I'm just going to add the taco mix instead of individual spices like garlic powder, etc., just to add some flavour to the rice while it's cooking. Again, just making it really quick and simple. Time to move on to the chicken. So I'm going to obviously change the cutting boards and everything, and I need to make a marinade for the chicken. We're going to be cooking it on the barbecue later this evening, so it's still early. It's 6:30 in the morning. So I'll just make the marinade before I start to cut up all of the chicken. So I'm going to do just a honey soy marinade that I usually do anyway. Honey soy, ginger, garlic. I'm going to add some liquid smoke as well, just for some additional flavour, just something different, so it's not the same marinade always. So about 1/3 or so cup of soy sauce. This is the dark soy sauce that we get from Costco, so it's just a larger quantity. Shaoxing wine. I don't normally have Shaoxing wine, but I found bottles at the local market when we were there last weekend or the weekend before, and they were $2 a bottle. So that's the same price they were many years ago. So I went, you know what, that's cheap, I'll grab some. So I put a few of those in the pantry as well. Some liquid smoke, just a teaspoon or so, just for change of flavour, like I said. Fresh garlic, so some chopped up garlic, couple of cloves normally. This is our garlic, it's just been preserved in the freezer. This is the end of the seasonal garlic from the year that we grew. So some of it was chopped up and preserved, the rest of it was dehydrated. So just some fresh garlic. Normally I would have fresh ginger, but we've planted all the ginger for the next crop as well. So I also need some honey. Obviously it's a honey soy recipe. So I'm just going to give it a good dollop of honey. Usually it's 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey for the marinade, and then on top of that some fresh ginger. But like I said, we've planted all the ginger, so I'm feeding a ginger beer bug at the moment, so I've got a lot of ground ginger available. So, you know, why not? Just going to put in some of the ground ginger, so I've still got the same flavour profile in the marinade. It's just not quite as good as when it's got the fresh ginger, and all my fresh ginger is fermenting in the refrigerator to make our ginger beer bug. So ground ginger it is. That's it. Mix it all well together and then set that aside, and then I can start prepping the chicken. The chicken is going to be chicken breasts because that's what I've got now ready to prepare for the marinade. You can use any chicken you want. You can use whole chicken pieces with the bone in. If you want to use wings, it works with wings, kebabs, you do whatever you like. I'm just doing simple chicken fillets because when I was at Ingham's a few weeks ago, we did our regular poultry order. These are big chicken breasts. This is why these ones are available from the outlet, because they're really large. So there's 3 chicken breasts to each pack, that they exceed the kilo amount for the packs, and so because they're so heavy, they get put aside as seconds, and that's how come they're at Ingham's. They also might have some damage on them. The machines may have picked up there was bruising on the chicken fillets or the chicken pieces that you're buying. There could be change of packaging. There's lots of reasons for there being product at chicken products at Ingham's pulled aside to go into the outlet. It changes all the time, and so I do an Ingham's bulk order usually every 6 months to 12 months, depending on how much we have consumed and how much space is in the fridge or freezer. in our freezers, it's either chicken or beef or whatever, or pork. And it just happens we were out of chicken and we were making chicken soups for winter. So we did the bulk poultry order a few weeks ago. Purchased a bunch of items. The chicken breasts were amongst that items. There's 8 packs in a tray, and a tray is $45. Same with the thigh fillets. Same with the legs. All that they come in trays, and they're $35 to $45. A tray for a flat, and that contains 8 of these big trays. So 8 trays. They weigh about 1.8 to 1.5 to 1.8 kilos. When I did my maths with the prices in comparison to the duopoly, we'd saved about $500 by going out to Ingham's to purchase our poultry order for the 6 months. It cost me about $200, $250 I think it was in total for all of the poultry that we purchased. So it's quite economical to buy in bulk if you can afford to and afford the space to designate for the chicken. We also share this with our family. There's a bruise there. I knew I'd seen one. So I just cut that away and feed that to my lizard. That's none of it gets wasted. And if the lizard didn't eat it, then it would go to the cats or to the dogs. It just wouldn't get wasted. I just cut it out because I don't like the look of it. That's, I know it's been damaged during the processing stage, so that's fine. And just continuing to shred up all of the chicken to go into the marinade. So yeah, with the bulk poultry order, it's bulk poultry sometimes. Sometimes when we run out of beef, I'll do the bulk beef order as well. We shop at Costco as well, and we do that a couple of times a year and replenish all of the pantries, which I've just recently done also. So this is just all of the part of the chicken order. And so doing a quick marinade is simple. I need to do a dessert. So I don't know whether or not I feel like baking today, although I could. Just don't. Yeah, I've got a lot of jobs to do outside, and I don't really feel like being stuck inside, trying to manage dealing with bread that's rising and things like that, or cakes and things like that. So I think I'll probably pivot and do something that's already been pre-mixed and something that's a little bit easier to do as soon as I'm finished with all of the chicken. So once I've chopped it all up, it needs to all be well massaged together or stirred together and then left to marinate for 4 to 6 hours or as long as you can. Overnight's good. I'm going to use my hands. So look, I know my hands have already got chicken all over them. I haven't washed them yet once I started cutting the chicken, so I figured I might as well just massage it all through. It's fine. I'm going to go and wash my hands afterwards. The cutting boards, everything's going to get wiped down. It's fine. No, I don't wear gloves when I'm doing poultry or doing anything because I'm just doing one single item and then I'll go and wash up. Your kitchen, your rules, my kitchen, my rules. It's not a big deal, okay? It's all clean and then I'd go and wash up. So for those that don't like me using my hands in my cooking, sorry, I do. Now I'm just going to put a lid on this instead of using plastic Glad wrap. I don't use Glad wrap. You can use those plastic shower caps if you want, but I just put a saucepan lid over the top of the bowls and then into the fridge they go. Done. On to the ice cream. Now, there's a product that I purchased to make this really quick and simple. This is the cheats version of how to make ice cream, soft serve ice cream. Soft serve ice cream mix. I buy this from Fun Foods Direct here in Australia. And get them delivered. They're $15 for a bag. It makes a huge amount of ice cream and it's quick and simple to make and then it just goes into the freezer. I've not had to go near a shopping centre, which for us it's not that far. I mean, it's a 15-minute drive down to the shops, but you go in to buy one thing and guaranteed you buy 20 things. So I prefer not to go near shops. Of course, I'm also busy here doing other things and I don't tend to leave the property that often. So all I need with the powder is I need 200 grams of powder mix to mix with water or a dairy product or a non-dairy product. You can do whatever you like with it. But to make a really luxurious, soft serve, creamy ice cream, I've got a lot of cream in the fridge at the moment because I'm about to make some butter. So I'm going to pull out one of the 600ml creams and I'm just going to use that instead. So normally it's 200 grams of the powder mixed with 500 mils of a liquid, milk and water, or cream or water. I've made it with the water and milk mix before, and I find it's just a little icy. Because I'm not using this in a machine, and I don't like that iciness and it also sets quite a
firm. So I'm going to do it with cream because it works so much better, and I'm going to balloon whisk it and make it really soft, like soft serve is, because this has got to freeze, and my granddaughter's up next week. She loves ice cream. So this is perfect for her. It's also perfect to add to milkshakes, thick shakes, frappes, you name it. Perfect as a summer treat. So it's literally school holidays coming up, and she's here as she always is for the duration of the school holidays. So it's a treat for her, and we don't have to go driving off anywhere to purchase it. So I'm just going to balloon whisk it for a couple of minutes. I've got one that was already in the freezer, actually. So I'll pull that out and we'll have a look at the texture of it. The one that's in the freezer is made with milk and cream. So it's not a full cream one, but it's still really rich and creamy. Easy to scoop it. See, perfect. It's lovely. It's very velvety. Very bad for those of us that aren't allowed dairy to have that in the house. So it has been slowly getting tempted, but my husband loves chocolate. So instead of buying chocolate, I thought I will make up some chocolate ice cream, and he can have that instead. So that was a treat for him, although I have had some, and it is very nice. So the cook's got a sample. It's the way it is. Alrighty, that's been whisking for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to pour it into another container and set this one separately because this one is just pure cream, and this one is for my granddaughter. So I'm just going to pour this one into a separate container. I was going to add some chocolate chips to it, but normally what I would do with her, because she is old enough, she's, preteen, she can put whatever she wants with it. If she wants to add nuts, she can add nuts. If she wants to make a sundae, if she wants to add chocolate chips, she can, or freckles, or whatever she wants, it's fine. She can set up a little station and she can make herself her own little ice creams as a treat at the end of a day. That's fine. So that's what I'm going to do, set this separately and just not add anything extra to it, although it would be really nice with some slivered almonds. No, I'm going to leave it plain. All right, I'm just going to leave it at plain chocolate, and then she can put whatever she likes with this one into the freezer. This is going to go. And that is pretty simple. I've got some corn that I need to deal with. We've been at the local farm, not far from us. They've got a farm stall out the front. They've got some early season corn that's not quite ripe, but it's perfect to add to the cans into the jars. So because it's not fully sweetened up and fully ripened yet, so I'm going to be doing that next. So I'm going to be pressure canning some whole cobs of corn, as I said, just from the local farmer. They've cost me 50 cents a cob, which is really, really cheap at this time of year. So let's do that next. Simple. Okay, so just a quick pivot. The rice is ready, so I'll just take that out now instead of leaving it just because it browns if it's left in the rice cooker. So I'm just going to take it out and transfer it into another bowl because then I can fluff it up and make it nice and fluffy as you'd like your rice to be. So just breaking it out of the bowl, which is fine. Down the bottom is where all the capsicum and the onion has been cooking close to the element, so that's all lovely and caramelized as well. So I'm just going to mix all that through and then just check it for any seasoning, whether I need to add anything to it. I think I probably forgot to add some white pepper to this one, but I used the taco seasoning instead, which has some pepper in it. So I'll just check its seasoning to make sure it's okay before I move on to do the rice. This rice, I'm going to split it and have half as vegetarian rice, and the rest of it I'll add some just sliced up ham to as well, or diced up ham, shredded ham to it. So that's my rice all ready to go. So I'll have 2 meals ready to meal prep later on this afternoon when I cook up the chicken. Half will be for myself, that will not have any meat in it, and the rest will be for the rest of the family and friends, and that will be the version that's got the meat in it. So it's pretty good. Onto the corn finally.
Okay, so today we're going to be working on some of the fresh corn. So I've already husked all of the silks and the outer coating, the corn husks, off my cobs. They need to be blanched now. We're going to be pressure canning these. I've got 4 jars left, 4 quart jars left at the end of last year. We have about 50 corn plants in the garden at the moment, so that's the new ones, and these ones are from the local farmer. So let's get these blanching, and then I can use my tool to get my kernels off. Okay, so I'm just blanching the corn cobs, and I'll do that for 3 minutes just with a rolling boil, and then I will be putting all of those into some nice cold water to stop the process and then moving on to the next cobs. I've chosen some slightly immature, not really mature cobs. So they're slightly immature, so they're not quite as well ripened as some of the other cobs that I've used, and I'll probably use this one even though it is much more ripened. The problem with that is the processing time. I'm doing pints. Pints is 55 minutes in the pressure canner for a cold pack or a hot pack, but for doing pints, 55 minutes. The corn could discolor if it's really sweet and has a lot of sugar content in it. So these corn kernels I've actually had in the fridge for a couple of days just to reduce the amount of sugar, and I know that might sound strange, but really, really sweet corn, freshly picked corn, I find that when it is being pressure canned, you can get some discoloration because of the high sugar content. The highest sugar content is the day that the corn has been picked. So I tend to let mine go just a couple of days at the most. So today being Monday, that's 2 days. So that's okay. I will be pressure canning these into pint jars following the standard 4 pressure canning times and doing my pints for 55 minutes. That's all our corn kernels. It's not bad for 10 cobs. Alrighty, we're going to fill up our pint jars. I've just got 4 here for now. I need to, I'll get 2 more. And then we're going to put the liquid in and we're going to debubble them really well before adding a teaspoon of salt or half a teaspoon of salt to each of these as well. Before cleaning off their rings, checking the headspace, and then putting them into the pressure canner. Maybe there'll be enough left over for dinner and not be pressure canned. Keep filling the jars. So I'm just going to stop there with the 4. That leaves me a little bit left over for this evening's dinner. Just going to put half a teaspoon or a bit less of salt in each of these before I add the water. Some extra one. This is a cold pack because by the time these kernels had been cut from the cobs and cooled down, I didn't want to put them back in and boil them again for another 5 minutes and do a hot pack. All right, I'll get my water. So in the saucepan is the water that I've just used to cook all of those cobs to do the blanching, and it's full of flavour. It's also hot, so I don't have to use any more power, turning on a kettle, etc., to get another kettle of water. And it's not wastage. So instead of wasting it, it's all going into the jar. It's just flavour. It's just water. It's just not being wasteful when it comes to using our resources. And water's one of the resources that we are very cautious of how much is being used, especially as we're coming into summer and the dry season technically for Australia and for us. Although we have a lot of rainfall forecast, we can't be reliant on that. We're coming out of what's been a really wet season for the past year, so it's possible that we won't get as much rainfall as we did in the past year. I'm going to debubble. So because this is fresh corn, not processed corn, some of the corn milk, it's obvious to see it in the jars compared to corn that's previously been frozen, for example. I need 1 inch headspace once I have finished debubbling all of these, and then adding some extra liquid as I go, and then cleaning off the tops because these are sweet corn. They do have a high sugar content, so I just got to clean up all of the tops really well and the rings, and then just checking my headspace. This one's got too much in it. Okay, so I have my 4 jars. Just clean them up. So I'm just going to use some vinegar on a paper towel because I can feel the tops are sticky, as they would be. This is sweet corn after all, and the first of the season, so it's pretty sweet, even though it's slightly under-ripened and I've let it sit a couple of days, but still, it's sweet corn. Alrighty. So my 10 cobs have yielded 4 pint jars, and I've still got enough for the dinner tonight as well. That's good. So small batches are fine. You don't need to do giant batches of 20, 30 jars at once. Small batches are just fine. Just slowly increase what we've got in our pantries. So I did chilies a couple of days ago. I did salmon a few days before that. So just small amounts most days. And eventually the pantry fills up with fresh seasonal produce as the seasons progress. Radio. Here's my 4. They're going to go into the cold canner. We'll bring it up to temperature. And then we're going to process 55 minutes once they've reached the pressure that's needed for my machine. And of course, judging, depending on your altitude, you can adjust your times as well. Just finger tight, not too tight. That's it, into the canner.